It's Nolan. What's going on, y'all? It's the Kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. All right, today what we're going to get into is TGIF being canceled. Okay? Now, just a couple weeks ago, we had a conversation on this very show about this very show. Of course, there was the controversy going on between Claudia Jordan, Armand Wiggins, and Al Reynolds. Of course, there was that episode that went super viral. Armand, the roast, basically making it seem as if Al was a problem behind the scenes, as if he was trying to railroad him, as if there was some sort of issues going on that people were not privy to that was making the show deteriorate in value. He spoke to his character. He spoke to him social climbing in Hollywood, making it seem like he had friends in high places that didn't really know that they were friends with him. But I guess to his estimation, they were his friends. A lot of people came out and called Armand messy. A lot of people came out and tried to say that Claudia Jordan was responsible for this taking place in the fashion in which it did. A lot of people said that she put him up to it. Put a battery in Armand's back, made him go as heavy-handed as he did in that roast. In my original video, I said, hey, I don't know if that's true, but I do know, based on what was said on that show, I can understand why there's some division. I can understand why they went on a little bit of a hiatus. I can understand why the network probably stepped in and had a few things to say, or why they would want to step in and have a few things to say to all of the co-hosts on the show, because I feel like setting a standard of having this roast thing going on, and I felt like they were wrong to do it in the beginning anyway. But they tiptoed that line, and it worked for a while. I mean, the show was on air for about 5 years. Armand was the newest castmate on there. Funky Dineva was on there previously before him. They were able to do roast, I guess, and everything was peachy keen. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that harsh. However, whatever it was that Armand brought to the table, it definitely was the straw that broke the camel's back. And unfortunately, we can't go back from there. You can't go back to ground zero. Everybody is now in a rebuilding phase, and the bag has officially been dropped. You know what I'm saying? For everyone involved, right? We don't need to bring up the roast again. We don't need to bring up the video or the conversation. We don't need to bring up Al calling into Funky Dineva's show and all of this type of stuff. By now, everybody has seen it. Everybody's heard about it. Everybody's talked about it. All of that stuff is already on the table. However, what everybody wanted to know was this show going to be able to continue? Could they pick the pieces up? Could they have the necessary conversations behind the scenes that could get everybody on the same page, that could get everybody back on one accord to where they could bring the show back within about 2 weeks? Now, Armand came out and said, regardless of the roast, we were all going to be on break for at least a week. That was already the plan ahead of time. Unfortunately, once that roast took its leap, it did a quantum leap into the goddamn life force of the internet. That break got extended into 2 weeks. And everybody says, okay, 2 weeks, y'all will be right back on air. Y'all will be back in the game, right? Everything will be back to normal. Let's see how they engage. Let's see if the chemistry can be rekindled. Well, by the time those 2 weeks were up, Fox Soul said, fuck this shit. We not moving forward. Everybody, y'all can take your ass home. Don't log back in. Send us your motherfucking papers. We gonna send you, you know what I'm saying? We gonna send you an email. Per this email, there is nothing more for you to do. All right, you've reached the land of no return. We'll figure this shit out from here. We ain't got nothing but a bunch of fucking whack shit on our network anyway. So, hey, we ain't got no slots open for you anyway. Y'all might be outperforming us any goddamn way. You know what I'm saying? So now what we're dealing with is the aftermath of the situation. Everybody's acting shocked. A lot of people are acting like they didn't expect it to happen. But those very same people that are acting shocked were the same ones that were asking for it to be blown up in the first place when all of this was happening, right? Armand felt like Al was already working against the team and that he was already commiserating behind the scenes for this show to be canceled. He alleged that Al wanted his own solo show. He's already got his own solo show on YouTube that he's been doing. In the interim, ever since they took a break, he was actually broadcasting at the very same time that their show TGIF was supposed to be airing anyway, right? So from there, they start trying to point out flaws in everyone's characters or their moves to try to see who's the problem and how is this thing being carried, right? So Al continued to do his show. Claudia, on the other hand, decided to do interviews, jump on live, and try to explain things without explaining too much. She tried to keep it as coy as possible, but the fact that she started alluding to the fact that there was division between herself and Al, who are active co-hosts on the show, right? And because of the time that they've worked together, you would think or assume that they're friends or that they're friendly or that they're chummy in some sort of fashion. She made it very clear that the delineation between our work relationship and a so-called personal relationship, those doors had already been closed. She started alluding to people taking photos of her house, her car, conversations about salary differentiation. You know what I'm saying? Who was getting paid what, right? And unfortunately, it seemed that all of those things that ended up happening, the conversations that happened behind the scenes, the relationship between her and Al Reynolds was just too much to be rekindled. It was too much to restore, right? So they just continued as co-workers. There was also issues between Claudia and Funky Dineva, the former co-host that was on the show. Top of the year, he was relieved from his position. There was some conflicting stories about whether or not he was fired or whether he just decided to move on from the show. Apparently, there was a contract negotiation period, and whatever was going on in those conversations, they could not come to mutual terms to bring him back. So he decided to keep it moving. Now, on the heels of him leaving the show, there was a bit of shade being thrown from Funky when he was on his YouTube channel, right? Going online, acting as if somebody had told him that he couldn't go back to YouTube and be successful. He had taken a considerable break from producing content on YouTube while he was doing the Foxhole TGIF show. So I guess it was being assumed that his time on YouTube was over. He was washed. He couldn't go out and get back to doing it on his own and making his own money. And he would never be able to match the salary that he was already making, because a lot of people felt like he was dropping the bag, which is what a lot of people are now saying about Armand, right? We got to keep it honest. That is the narrative that's being pointed in his direction as well. But it seems that Funky Dineva is doing just fine. He decided not to really speak on it. He did throw some jabs here and there, but for the most part, he's moved forward and kept his content rolling, kept his bag coming, and he's working. He's doing whatever the fuck he needs to do. Right? Again, the fingers were being pointed at Armand. They felt like he came in there and blew it up. He came in there and stunk it up. People started, and that's what I say people are saying. That's not my opinion on him. People were starting to compare the numbers that were being produced when Funky was there versus when he left and was replaced by Armand. A lot of people were trying to understand how Armand got the job. A lot of people felt like Claudia may have handpicked him. She's got a new interview out where she debunks that theory. She says that she was not actually clued in on the selection process for Armand. She was actually against it because of, certain antics and ways that he carried him in situations where he carried himself, I guess, opposite of what she would have thought was opportune. So she was a little bit reserved on him being chosen to fulfill that position. Once they started working together, I guess they found themselves in a place where maybe it worked out. But she did talk about the fact that, there were some weird moments on the show. She was trying to contact Armand and he was not privy to answering the phone calls. He wouldn't call her back. There was some sort of miscommunication that was going on. Eventually, they had an opportunity to hash some things out, and it seems as though they had a common enemy. This is what she talked about with Carlos King. She didn't go into full details, but she definitely set the stage to say they found themselves having a common enemy because for whatever reason, Armand was being advised not to talk to Claudia outside of filming the show. Now, let's be clear. When we talk about filming the show, this is a pretty easy job. Now, I'm not going to say it's, let's say simple, not easy, right? Because anytime you have to get on camera and perform, even me doing this video right now, talking to y'all, as natural as it may seem, as good at it as you may think I am, this shit ain't easy. Getting out here, putting yourself in front of the world, putting yourself in front of a camera and letting people dissect you. Oh, your hat is ugly, your jersey sucks, your background is whack, your lighting is ugly, your face don't, you know what I'm saying? It could be any number of things people could say about you that could attack your confidence, attack the way you view yourself. And when you were just feeling good about what you produce, next thing you know, you're looking at your shit very critically. So it's not an easy job to do for nobody. Anybody that's taking a real concerted effort to build on YouTube, to be on camera talent, to share your opinion, share your views, you know what it is and what it takes to do this shit consistently. And consistency is how you build, right? So let's not say that it's easy, but it was a pretty simple job. They were able to check in, on a nightly basis, do a 1 hour show, basically the same way that I'm talking to y'all right now. You just put your login credentials, you go and do it. You get handed subjects, you talk about it, share your opinion, you do your thing, you log out. You might have some meetings in between in the interim earlier in the day or whatever, pre-planning, post-production, all that good shit that you don't even have to do. You know what I mean? And they were allegedly being paid in the ballpark of $250,000 each to do that. Now, the question is, what could be so bad behind the scenes where you would be willing to risk $250,000 salary on an annual basis, right? Guaranteed money pretty much, long as you show up and do your job. A lot of people are doing jobs that they fucking hate. They can't stand to get up for. You know what I'm saying? Sacrificing time and energy, sacrificing crucial, critical moments with their children and all of these things for stuff that's paying them far less. So from a viewer's perspective, it's like, this shit is easy. Y'all got the easiest job in the world. How could y'all blow this thing up? But in reality, when you get to a certain status, when you get to a certain point in your life or certain, you meet certain benchmarks, you got to change your standard. You got to change the way people talk to you, the way people treat you, the way, you know what I'm saying? All of these things. Because now that you've gotten a taste of your value and worth and knowing what you're worth in the marketplace, you can't let niggas play with you no way to hinder that or to keep you at bay, keep you below the scale. So I think people also got to look at things from a very, open mind perspective. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes and you may say, oh, I would do anything for that. No, the fuck you wouldn't. And once you get in it and you start feeling that tenseness under them lights, you know what I'm saying? Or you log out and you go fucking punch a hole in the wall because you can't stand this motherfucker on the other side, the shit changes a little bit. I'm not saying that I know what's going on. I don't know the inner workings of this shit. I don't study this shit. But I'm just telling you from the outside looking in, and somebody that sits in a position of creating content and sharing opinions with the world and doing all that, the shit can be exhausting on its own. Some days you don't want to motherfucking do this shit. Some days you got information and news stories and shit in front of you that you don't give two shits about, but you got to put on your best face for it. Hey man, this shit is a job. This shit is work. So I don't want to place all that blame on Armand like he just blew the ship up, because I think at some point, you know what I mean, he understood this shit is the sinking ship. To be honest, I feel like all of this happening, all the blowback, the blow up, all of this shit, whether or not it happened, I low-key feel like Fox Soul was already putting this show on the chopping block because it was already being talked about that the numbers were down, right? Even Armand came out at the heels of the cancellation and said that they were pulling him to the side to, blow this thing up. They were basically telling him, we hired you for virality. We're supposed to be going viral. We're supposed to be bringing in more views. We thought that you were going to be a safe bet to blow this thing up. Not blow it up in terms of end it, but blow it up in terms of helping us regain or exceed our viewership, right? So let's go ahead and pull up this clip of Armand talking about this. It's a very short clip, but to me, it gives me a glimpse into, okay, he was just trying to do his job. That doesn't mean that he's completely right in everything that he's doing or has done, but he was, to his knowledge or to his best efforts, trying to keep this thing spicy, to keep it interesting, and to keep the people engaged.
Me. Why was the Luenell interview removed? I didn't do anything on that. Two videos got removed. Lunel and the roast. And I'll just leave you with this. But I had one job. And my job was to wake that up. And when I woke that mother up, I wasn't happy. So what did you want me to do? They was complaining, Armand, you need to wake it up. You need to do something. We need to go viral. We need viral moments. This is why we brought you. We want viral. We need to get on the blogs.
All right. So there's that. Now, when he says that, I think for me, it takes me back to when Funky Dineva was on the show. Now, I would be a bold-faced motherfucking lie to tell y'all that I've been tuned in to TGIF, watching on that motherfucker every day, every night. You know what I'm saying? Every week even. But what actually lended to my awareness of the show was the fact that Funky Dineva was constantly creating viral moments, whether it was saying outlandish things that I completely disagreed with, whether he was talking about certain shit that I couldn't give two fucks about, and I was just scrolling through the my daily research on the different content channels and whatnot and pages. I would see them purple blocks and I would see his face on there, and he would be saying something that done pissed somebody off or got him posted and got him on the blogs. You know what I'm saying? So he was consistently producing at a specific scale that kept that show in the psyche of people that were not their everyday viewers, right? So he was succeeding in that way. Some people suspected that those posts and those viral moments were exactly why he was fired. Funky says, I was not fired. We just could not come to terms with the type of money that I wanted. So I left. So now they hire Armand. They want him to fill the shoes. He's the younger blood on the show, right? He's more connected to what's going on. So they're like, all right, cool. We can just kind of plug and play, insert him in this position, and he'll be able to carry the torch and do what Funky used to do. And if you watch that video that I just showed y'all, basically, for a certain period of time, he was not doing that. Now we get to this roast. All of a sudden, it's all everywhere on the blogs. He accomplished what they had already been pulling him to the side about, but now it's an embarrassment. Now everyone's mad. Everyone's up in arms, right? So I understand where he's coming from. And I said it from the jump. I don't think that bringing back of house issues from the workplace, from the profession is necessarily the best way to go about doing things, right? Bringing it to the audience, because that hinders the chemistry of the show. That hinders how people view the show. That creates a narrative of people that watch the show, right? Now everybody's going to look at y'all and see where y'all are going to clash. How is this going to happen? Somebody slant their eyes. Somebody turn their head. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? All of these different little small microaggressions and little things that would otherwise just seem like banter or the nature of conversation are now looked at as beef, So I did not agree with the way the roast was handled, but I understand why, if given the context that he needed to bring more viewers to the show. They needed more controversy. They needed something to keep this thing going, because let's be honest here. Again, I made the illusion earlier. Fox Soul is probably the least priority out of the Fox conglomerate. I don't even fuck with Fox. You know what I'm saying? We got to think about Fox News. I don't fuck with them niggas. They be on that other shit. But they a multi-billion-dollar company. They created this Fox Soul branch years ago to create diversity and inclusion and all of this type of shit. They had the cocktails with the queens, with Vivica Fox and all them motherfuckers. I remember, because that shit used to go viral too with Claudia. Right? That shit ended. people accused her of sabotaging that show so that she could get the TGIF shit going, right? She talked about that with Carlos. Let's get to that. I'm not pulling up none of the audio from that because it's just too much. It's a long ass sit down. I'm not sifting through, picking. No, not me. Okay? But that's something that people did bring to her as an accusation, right? Now, she says that she did not sell out her former co-host on Cocktails with Queens. She says that the show was canceled to free up the budget for TGIF in order to move to 5 nights a week. In a quote, it states, or she states rather, a lot of people blamed me and thought I sold out Cocktails with Queens so I could be over here on T. I was absolutely heartbroken when the network decided to cancel Cocktails with Queens. It was only a financial issue. It was nothing more than that. Okay. Now, furthermore, Claudia fought back tears when they got on the subject of Al Reynolds' quote unquote betrayal that ended with TGIF being canceled. So much so, she says, I think he hates me, referring to Al. She thinks that this nigga hates her, that he has like some hidden, forbidden vendetta against her that she doesn't really know about, or maybe she does know about, but she's not trying to put it out there because at the time of the interview with Carlos, she said that she was still trying to hold off some sort of hope that she could save her baby, that she could save the show, that they could bring it back, that they could continue and get back to business as usual. However, Fox Soul said, we'll be getting back to business. Yo ass got to find a new one. Okay? So there's still a lot of information that just has not been surfaced as of yet. But she did say in the event that the show does get canceled, she would return and go ahead and take a little bit of a lay into the inner workings and the things that everything that hasn't been surfaced and what she is holding back. So we'll see if she makes good on that promise because the show got axed, right? Now, they say, allegedly, D'Artagnan Bebel, who's the general manager and head of programming at Fox Soul, grew tired of Al running to him about things that Claudia allegedly said. So here we go with this game of telephone, this he said, she said stuff, right? And of course, if you're a general manager and a head of programming, you really don't want to know about all of the day-to-day shit going on between the on-screen talent. Y'all need to pull this shit together. Y'all need to, you know what I'm saying? All I really want to hear is when the mics is on, I want to hear opinions, facts, entertainment. I want to hear that the numbers are rising. I want to hear how much you love your job. Don't come to me about no bullshit, right? So they say he suspended the show in hopes that the parties would be able to settle their differences. However, the narrative is that Al was completely over it, which lends, again, to the theory of Armand saying Al wanted to kill it. He wanted to kill it, and he was trying to backdoor his way into getting his own show with the network. Do I think that happens? No. I don't think none of them return. Right? Now, Claudia has good relationships. You know what I'm saying? It seems that she's kind of like the mastermind behind all of this. She's the one that gets a lot of credit for bringing people into the fold, giving opportunities. Even in the interview with Carlos King, she talks about how she's frequently that person, creating opportunities, seeing holes and gaps, right? To be like, hey, I heard you want to do this. Bow. You know, she could throw the assist. Bow, bounce pass, catch that motherfucker. I'm finna lob it up for you, dunk it. You know, according to her story, she says that that's the person that she's been all along. And for some reason, things just keep going bad. And every time something happens, niggas throw her under the bus and make it seem like she's the one fucking it up when she was actually the one bringing the opportunities to motherfuckers in the first place. Now, I don't know her. I don't know Funky. I don't know Armand. I don't know these people. I don't know where they been. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what school they went to. I don't know none of this shit. And I don't want to, if I'm being perfectly honest. Right? Me and Armand have spoken very briefly over the internet on some thank you shit. You know what I'm saying? Spoke about an issue he had with Saucy Santana in the past. I told y'all about that. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, you get it. I fuck with this video. He shared it, blah, blah, blah. But I have no alliance to anyone. It's all about the information. And you know what I'm saying? All I could do is go off of what happened on the show on screen and what the conversation has been online, because I am not in the group chats. I am not in the studio. I am not in the office when these conversations are being had. I don't know what the fuck Al was complaining about. I don't know what Al was trying to get Armand to avoid in connecting with Claudia outside of the show. I don't really know what Claudia and Al's real issue is, because she ain't talking about the shit, right? It's way too early in the game for Armand to have, you know, too much information about the shit other than what Claudia may have told him. But I don't think you blow up a show based off of what somebody tells you, right? Not if you're getting 250 racks. So again, I feel like Fox Soul, they felt this was convenient because the show was already not performing, you know, to the benchmarks and things that they were looking forward to. I'm sure they were expecting a little bit more growth. It wasn't trending in that direction. So they were already having conversations in those board meetings. It's no way that that wasn't happening. If they're bringing him to the side saying, we need you to wake this up and go viral, you best believe they're having other conversations that the talent is not privy to, saying, we need to get, what the fuck is going on? This was an opportune time to go ahead and axe it because it's controversial. It's costing us more than it's actually producing profits. We're paying these people a hefty salary. If they're getting $250,000 a year, we're paying out over $1 million in salary for this particular show, and we're not making that million back, or we're barely breaking even, right? This shit is just happening on YouTube. It's not, you know what I mean? Fox Soul as a network isn't like no shit that people really are running to. That's not to besmirch them or anything like that, but we got to be honest about this. It's not like we're sitting down on a daily basis trying to see what Fox Soul is producing outside of this show. This is pretty much the conversation of the network. So if you're willing to sacrifice that, then you know it wasn't doing well. Right? So at the end of the day, I think that's what's real. I think the three of them, being that they are the on-camera talent, they're the ones that people know. Whatever issues that they may have, they're the easy scapegoat. But who's to say that this show was going to make it past this particular season or iteration anyway? That's something to think about. So before you place blame, it may have just run its course. It may have just been time. And this situation was just like, you know what? This is a perfect way to end it. Let's go out with a bang, because we ain't going to be able to produce nothing like this organically going forward anyway. This is perfect. And we get to blame our cast members for fucking it up without us taking no blame for axing this shit. Because let's be real. If you look anywhere around the film and TV business, they're cutting shows left and right. Jobs are getting cut left and right. Everybody's doing cutbacks in the entertainment or outside of entertainment, just the corporate world, period. Cutbacks are happening in abundance. So if there's any way we could cut corners, get rid of this, do this, rob Peter to pay Paul, Paul is going to get his. So that's my assessment of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Now, Al, he hasn't really come out and said a whole lot, right? But again, here's what Armand had to say. He says, I really tried to turn a new leaf, but honestly, Al got what he wanted. I wasn't lying when I said he was trying to get this show canceled and me fired, right? So clearly, Armand and Claudia had that common enemy as spoken on before. But then we also have Al in his IG story reposting what people out in the world are saying, right? So we got this person, Defund Sean, coming out saying Claudia did all them lives, interviews, and played in the comment section for the past 3 weeks, and now 30 plus people ain't got no job. Someone named Nova Dixel says amen. And this is in Al's Instagram story where he puts the eyeballs, basically saying somebody is woke. Somebody here understands what's going on. I won't say it myself, but this theory is getting a little warm. Right? Now that defund Sean, I don't know, that could be Sean Allen, who's been out here kind of being Al's voice box in the midst of all of this stuff. I really don't want to get into side characters, side missions, side quests, and all of that type of stuff. But that has been the person coming out and kind of speaking out. I believe him and Al are really close friends. Some people are debating the closeness of that friendship and how far that extends. I won't be the one to say anything about that because I don't know them like that. But I'm just saying what some people are thinking. Okay? What we do know, or at least what I believe, I think everybody's going to be fine. Al's got his YouTube thing going. I'm sure he's making money on that. Armand has had a successful YouTube page going. He was making money on there before he even got hired to do the show. I think the show was really, a matter of finding a way to make guaranteed money because content creation does take a lot, as stated earlier. Trying to come up with ways to keep people interested and engaged on a day-to-day basis to make sure that by the end of the month your check is looking right. That shit is stressful. The shit is real. Me coming into this over the past year or two, trying to solidify myself, trying to grow this channel, trying to get to a place where I can grow and, produce more income off of this thing. The shit gets real behind the scenes. So if you can build up your profile on your own independent situation, get hired by a corporate entity that's going to give you guaranteed bread, you're still producing content on your independent thing, right? Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity, and this puts you on a spotlight in front of more people, in front of other corporations that are watching that may want to come do something with you, other brands, opportunities for endorsements and things like that, opportunities to host, perhaps do stuff like red carpets, Essence Fest, Rolling Loud, all of these different things you could be moving about. There's so many other things that you could get involved in if you're on the right spotlight. So to me, I feel like that's what Fox Soul was offering for Armand. Now, what Al is going to do, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have a big, vast knowledge of his history. You know what I mean? I know he was married to Star Jones, but in that relationship, Star Jones was the star. You know what I mean? He became on-air talent, and I don't really know a lot about him. Claudia Jordan, what I do know about her, she seems to be a hustler. She seems to be a woman that's in control of her destiny. She's a strong black woman that goes out and gets it. Now, you can say what you want about her personality. She may rub people the wrong way. She may speak a little bit more, stern and assertive than some people may like. Some people may feel like she's fake. I haven't had that experience because I don't know her, never met her. And I don't keep tabs on none of them to this degree. So I can't speak to that type of stuff. But what I do know is she's going to find a way to get to the bag. She's on motherfucking BET doing College Hill Celebrity. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of all this shit, she was the one helping other motherfuckers get hired so that they could go ahead and get they share of the pie. So with all of those industry relationships that she has, I think she's going to be fine. She's going to find ways. She's acting. She's doing all of these other things. This was an easy way to make $250 a year in support of what other financial things she had going on. But I feel like she'll land on her feet as well. And at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for. I never wanted none of them to lose their job. I said that in my first video. I didn't feel like it was enough to fuck up the bag. Apparently Fox Soul said, y'all ain't got to fuck up the bag. We're not extending it no more. Keep it. Right? So from there, that's my assessment of the situation. I feel like all three parties have contributed. Everybody's at fault. Nobody walks away, completely unscathed. I think everybody's got a little bit of dirt on their hands just because, everything unfolded with the actual talent. Do I think Fox Soul walks away from this clean? Hell no. Like I said, I feel like they were already plotting and planning on a way to get rid of it. They were spending out more money than they were probably making. Or if they were making profits, they were very minimal. So I think everything had run its course. And even if this situation had not happened, it wouldn't have took too long for it to go the same way. Okay? Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Become an insider. It's so much better on the inside than outside. You feel me? And I will catch y'all on the next one. All right? Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. But I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they died of me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross somebody came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. When I catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.